Dak Prescott walked into the post-game press conference on Christmas Day wearing a hoodie that read, "Wake up happy," a phrase that felt symbolic after a physically brutal win. The Dallas Cowboys had just beaten the Washington Commanders 30-23, ending a three-game losing streak in a season already defined by frustration. Prescott had been sacked 6 times and hit 11 more, absorbing punishment from the opening drive until the final kneel down. Despite the physical toll, his demeanor was calm, controlled, and unwavering, reflecting a quarterback who still feels ownership over the season. The Cowboys may be eliminated from the playoffs, but Prescott's mindset remains anchored in competition, not resignation. For him, the calendar turning toward Week 18 does not signal surrender. It signals unfinished business. Prescott admitted the physical reality of the night without hesitation. He acknowledged that waking up the next morning would come with soreness layered over the satisfaction of victory. Still, the pain did nothing to alter his intentions for the season finale against the New York Giants. In Prescott's words, there was no question about wanting to play in Week 18. That clarity matters inside a locker room navigating disappointment and evaluation. It sends a message that leadership does not pause simply because the standings are unforgiving. The Cowboys enter the final week with a 7-8-1 record, mathematically out of postseason contention. For many teams, that reality would open the door to rest, caution, or long-term thinking. Prescott, however, frames the situation differently, focusing on pride and competitive integrity. He emphasized that any time he has the opportunity to play football, he wants to take it. That mindset has defined his career and continues to guide him even now. To Prescott, availability is not a privilege, it is a responsibility. When asked directly whether he expected to play against the Giants, Prescott did not hesitate. "For sure, no question," he said, making his stance unmistakably clear. He stressed that if he is allowed to play, his preparation will not change in any way. The approach, the film study, and the physical readiness will mirror any other week. Prescott rejected the idea of dialing things back simply because the season's stakes have shifted. In his mind, professional standards are not conditional. Prescott did acknowledge that conversations with the coaching staff could still happen. He understands why the organization might evaluate risk, health, and future planning. But he also made clear that his default position remains playing. Any discussion, he said, would start from the assumption that he is taking the field. That confidence underscores how strongly he believes in his role as the team's leader. It also highlights the trust he has in his ability to protect himself and compete. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer took a more measured tone when asked about the decision. Rather than committing publicly, he deferred the conversation until after film review. Schottenheimer emphasized that Christmas Day was not the moment to finalize Week 18 plans. His response reflected the balance between emotion, performance, and long-term responsibility. The head coach understands Prescott's competitive fire but must weigh broader implications. That tension will define the Cowboys' week leading into the season finale. Prescott admitted he is more understanding now than he was a week earlier. He previously joked about fighting for the chance to play on Christmas. While still passionate, he recognizes the context of one game remaining. Even so, his willingness to push for playing has not disappeared. He remains committed to finishing the year on the field if given the chance. That persistence is part of what has shaped his identity in Dallas. For Prescott, the difference between finishing 7-9-1 and 8-8-1 is not trivial. He described the gap as big, rooted in personal and professional pride. Prescott noted that he has never finished a healthy season below .500 at any level. That history matters deeply to him as both a competitor and a leader. The tie on the record, in his view, preserves that standard. It also reflects resilience in a year filled with obstacles. Prescott framed the Week 18 game as an opportunity to reinforce culture. Winning, even without playoff implications, still sets a tone for the offseason. It influences how players reflect on the year and how momentum carries forward. Prescott believes that starting the game gives Dallas the best chance to win. That belief fuels his desire to be on the field rather than watching from the sideline. To him, leadership is most visible when circumstances are least forgiving. Against Washington, Prescott delivered a statistically productive performance despite inefficiency. He completed 19 of 37 passes for 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. The completion percentage was his lowest of the season, reflecting uneven accuracy. Still, the production helped Dallas control the game and build early separation. Prescott's 30th touchdown pass of the year tied a franchise record. It marked the 4th time in his career he has reached that milestone. Much of Prescott's production came on throws traveling more than 10 yards downfield. He generated 180 yards on deeper attempts, but completed only 6 of 16. Prescott openly admitted that several opportunities were missed. He described moments where he was greedy or failed to execute cleanly. Those admissions were candid rather than defensive. They illustrated a quarterback holding himself accountable despite the win. One of the most notable struggles came in Prescott's connection with CeeDee Lamb. Lamb was targeted 10 times, but finished with only 5 catches for 46 yards. Both players acknowledged frustration with the outcome. Prescott detailed how some misses were purely his fault. Others stemmed from nonverbal communication and timing issues. Those nuances are critical at the highest level of play. Prescott emphasized the high standards both he and Lamb maintain. He referred to Lamb as potentially the best receiver in the franchise's history. That belief drives expectations that every target should be a completion. When reality falls short, frustration naturally follows. However, Prescott framed that frustration as productive rather than divisive. In his view, it fuels improvement rather than blame. The Cowboys' offense compensated for its passing inconsistencies with a dominant run game. Dallas rushed for a season-high 211 yards against Washington. That output represented a career-best rushing performance for the team under Prescott. It also aligned with Schottenheimer's emphasis entering the game. Short yardage efficiency became a defining factor in the win. The balance allowed Dallas to control tempo and possession. Prescott highlighted the importance of fourth-down success in that context. Dallas converted all 6 of its fourth-down attempts. Knowing the offense would be aggressive altered third-down decision-making. Prescott explained how having 2 downs available changed his approach. The confidence in play calling created rhythm and continuity. It was a subtle but significant edge throughout the game. Dallas opened the game with 3 straight touchdown drives. The early dominance forced Washington to play from behind immediately. Prescott acknowledged how important that early surge was strategically. It allowed the Cowboys to dictate pace rather than react. However, the offense managed only 9 points after those initial drives. That drop-off remained a point of concern despite the victory. Prescott was direct about the missed opportunity to close the game earlier. He believed the contest could have remained lopsided with better execution. Finishing drives remains an area the offense must improve. That assessment came without minimizing the importance of the win. Prescott balanced satisfaction with self-critique. It reflected a quarterback unwilling to settle for good enough. The Cowboys' ability to sustain long drives proved decisive late. Time of possession tilted heavily in Dallas' favor. Methodical series drained the clock and limited Washington's chances. Prescott praised the execution that allowed the offense to stay on the field. Those details often go unnoticed, but shape outcomes. In close games, they matter more than highlight plays. Winning on Christmas added emotional weight to the result. Prescott described the joy of earning a victory on a holiday. Ending a losing streak made the moment even sweeter. Doing so in a division game amplified its significance. The win provided a sense of closure after weeks of frustration. It also restored confidence heading into the final week. Prescott made it clear that winning remains fun, regardless of context. He emphasized that victory is the reason players endure the grind. Holiday games, pressure, and physical pain are all part of that pursuit. The Commanders' win reminded the Cowboys of what is still possible. Even in a lost season, moments of success carry value. They shape belief and reinforce habits. As the team looks toward Week 18, preparation remains unchanged. Prescott stressed that the approach will mirror any other game week. The opponent may be familiar, but the stakes remain personal. Finishing strong matters to players whose futures are under evaluation. It also matters to veterans setting the tone for younger teammates. Prescott embraces that responsibility fully. The Giants' matchup now carries symbolic weight. It represents the final statement of a turbulent season. For Prescott, it is an opportunity to reaffirm his standards. Playing through adversity reinforces his credibility as a leader. Sitting out would feel inconsistent with his competitive DNA. That internal conflict will shape the coming days. Schottenheimer's decision will ultimately balance emotion and pragmatism. The head coach must consider health, optics, and organizational priorities. Prescott's stance ensures the conversation will not be passive. It will be deliberate, honest, and rooted in mutual respect. Both sides understand the complexity of the situation. Resolution will come with clarity rather than impulse. Prescott's physical condition will be monitored closely throughout the week. The hits absorbed against Washington were not insignificant. Recovery will play a major role in the final decision. Prescott remains confident in his body and preparation habits. He has managed physical adversity throughout his career. That experience informs his current confidence. The Cowboys' offensive line faced challenges in protection. Washington consistently generated pressure up the middle and off the edge. Prescott navigated collapsing pockets with varying success. Some sacks were unavoidable, others came from extended plays. Prescott accepted responsibility where appropriate. That accountability resonated with teammates. Despite the pressure, Prescott continued to push the ball downfield. Aggressiveness remained a defining trait of his performance. He refused to become overly conservative after early hits. That mentality helped open space for the run game. It also created explosive play opportunities. Risk and reward remained in constant balance. Prescott's leadership extended beyond statistics. His communication on the sideline stayed composed and constructive. Teammates responded to his energy and clarity. Even during mistakes, he maintained confidence. That steadiness anchored the offense through momentum swings. It underscored why he remains central to the Cowboys' identity. The broader context of the season cannot be ignored. Dallas faced injuries, inconsistency, and missed opportunities throughout the year. Prescott remained healthy, a point he repeatedly emphasized. That health fuels his desire to complete the full slate of games. To him, availability is a measure of accountability. It reinforces his belief in finishing what he starts. Prescott acknowledged that narratives form quickly in the NFL. One game can reshape perception in meaningful ways. Ending the year with a win would influence off-season discussion. It would not erase disappointment, but would soften its edge. Prescott understands the optics, but prioritizes internal standards. Those standards guide his decision-making. The locker room watches closely how leaders respond to adversity. Prescott's insistence on playing sends a clear signal. It tells younger players that effort does not fade with elimination. Culture is built in moments when excuses are available. Prescott rejects those excuses openly. That approach defines his legacy within the organization. As the Cowboys prepare for the final week, uncertainty remains. Health evaluations, coaching discussions, and strategic planning will converge. Prescott's stance ensures he will be part of those conversations. His voice carries weight earned through consistency and accountability. Whatever the outcome, his message has already landed. Compete until the end, no matter the circumstances. The Giants' game now looms as a measuring stick of resolve. It is not about standings, but about standards. Prescott sees it as a chance to validate the team's identity. Playing through pain reinforces his belief in earning respect daily. That respect is internal before it is external. It begins with personal commitment. Prescott's honesty about missed throws reflected self-awareness. Rather than deflecting, he dissected his own performance. That transparency strengthens trust with teammates and coaches. It also sets expectations for improvement. Growth does not stop when seasons end. Prescott treats every rep as part of a longer journey. The Cowboys' offense showed flashes of its intended identity. Balance, aggression, and efficiency defined its best moments. Inconsistency prevented sustained dominance. Prescott believes those issues are correctable. Finishing the season allows further evaluation. It provides clarity entering the offseason. The physical toll of the season is undeniable. Prescott does not minimize that reality. Instead, he contextualizes it as part of the profession. Pain is temporary, standards are permanent. That belief anchors his approach to Week 18. It also explains his refusal to step aside quietly. As the Cowboys close the book on this season, Prescott remains central to the narrative. His desire to play reflects more than competitiveness. It reflects ownership of outcomes, good and bad. Prescott does not distance himself from disappointment. He confronts it head-on. That mindset defines leaders at the professional level. The decision regarding Week 18 will arrive soon. Film review, medical input, and organizational goals will shape it. Prescott has made his position unmistakably clear. He wants the ball, the responsibility, and the final word on the field. For him, the season deserves a proper ending. One earned through competition, not caution. Whether Prescott ultimately plays or not, his message stands. Effort does not expire with playoff elimination. Standards do not bend under adversity. Pride remains a valid motivation. In a season filled with challenges, that clarity matters. For Dak Prescott, the fight does not end early.